Hello there, welcome to another video. Today, we're going to explore something that I think we all need in our increasingly chaotic world, finding calm amidst the storm. I know you might be tempted to skip ahead, but I promise this journey we're about to take together is worth experiencing from start to finish. The foundations we lay in these first few minutes will make everything that follows much more meaningful, so stay with me. Have you ever felt like your life is a constant reaction to emergencies? Like you're always putting out fires instead of building something meaningful? I've been there too. In fact, just a few months ago, I found myself constantly overwhelmed, stressed, and frankly exhausted by the chaos of everyday life. What changed? For me was discovering an ancient philosophy that's surprisingly relevant today, Stoicism. This isn't going to be a dry academic lecture though. I want to share with you practical wisdom that has transformed my approach to life's chaos, and I believe it can do the same for you. The nature of chaos and calm. The world we live in today seems designed to keep us in a perpetual state of agitation. Notifications constantly demand our attention. News cycles bombard us with one crisis after another. Social media feeds us an endless stream of things to react to, compare ourselves with, or worry about. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple truth is at the heart of finding calm in chaos. We cannot control the external world and its endless commotion, but we can control our response to it. Think about water for a moment. When a lake is disturbed, it becomes murky and you can't see through it. But when it's calm, it becomes clear and you can see all the way to the bottom. Our minds work the same way. When we're agitated, our thinking becomes clouded. When we're calm, we gain clarity. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, later published as Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This insight, written nearly 2,000 years ago, remains profoundly relevant today. I discovered these words during one of the most turbulent periods of my life. I was working a demanding job, dealing with family health issues, and feeling like I was failing at everything despite working harder than ever. These ancient words gave me permission to stop trying to control the uncontrollable and instead focus on my internal response. The Stoic approach to finding calm now. I want to share how Stoicism offers us a practical framework for finding calm. This isn't about suppressing emotions or becoming cold and unfeeling. That's a common misconception about Stoicism. Instead, it's about developing a resilient mind that can maintain serenity even when faced with life's inevitable difficulties. Stoicism teaches us several key principles that I've found invaluable in my own journey toward a calmer existence. First is the dichotomy of control, understanding what we can and cannot influence. Epictetus explained this perfectly. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. This insight changed everything for me. I realized I was expending enormous energy worrying about things completely outside my control. From other people's opinions to global events to past mistakes I couldn't undo. Learning to distinguish between what I could and couldn't control allowed me to redirect my energy toward productive actions instead of wasteful worry. The second principle is practicing present moment awareness. The Stoics were early advocates of what we now call mindfulness. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, advised, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." How often do we sacrifice our present peace, worrying about future scenarios that may never happen, or replaying past events we cannot change? When I began to practice staying in the present moment, I found that many of my anxieties were rooted in my mind traveling to places it didn't need to go. The third principle is negative visualization. This might sound counterintuitive. How does imagining negative outcomes create calm? But the Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, not to increase anxiety, but to reduce it. Marcus Aurelius recommended, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. This practice isn't about pessimism, it's about preparedness. When we mentally rehearse potential challenges, they lose their power to disturb us when they actually occur. I started practicing this by taking a few minutes each morning to consider what might go wrong in my day. Rather than making me anxious, it had the opposite effect. I felt prepared for whatever might come, and most days things went better than the scenarios I had imagined, which left me feeling grateful rather than entitled. Practical steps to creating islands of calm now. Let's move from philosophy to practice. How do we actually implement these ideas in our daily lives? Here are some practical approaches I've developed that blend Stoic wisdom with modern realities. First, create boundaries with technology. Our devices are incredible tools, but they're also the primary conduits of chaos into our lives. The constant availability they enable would have horrified the Stoics, who valued periods of solitude and reflection. I've found that designating specific times to check emails and social media rather than responding to every notification has dramatically reduced my anxiety levels. I also keep my phone out of my bedroom, using a traditional alarm clock instead. This small change has improved both my sleep quality and my morning mindset. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In our hyper-connected age, there's wisdom in being willing to be temporarily unavailable and not immediately responsive to every demand for our attention. Second, develop a morning ritual of reflection. The Stoics placed great emphasis on starting the day with intentional thought. Seneca advised reviewing your plans for the day ahead and preparing your mind for potential challenges. My own morning ritual is simple but transformative. I wake up 30 minutes before I need to begin my day's responsibilities. During this time, I sit quietly with a cup of tea, journal briefly about my intentions for the day, and remind myself of what is and isn't within my control. This quiet beginning creates a foundation of calm that the day's events find harder to disturb. Third, practice the pause. When something potentially upsetting occurs, train yourself to pause before responding. In that pause lies your freedom to choose a response rather than simply react. Marcus Aurelius advised, when jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. You'll have a better grasp of harmony if you keep going back to it. I've found this particularly helpful in my professional life. When I receive an email that triggers an emotional response, I now have a rule. I must wait at least an hour before replying. This gives the initial emotional wave time to subside, allowing me to respond from a place of reason rather than reaction. Fourth, reconnect with nature. The Stoics believed in living according to nature, which meant both aligning with our human nature and maintaining connection with the natural world. Modern research confirms what the Stoics intuited. Time in nature reduces stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and improves mood. Even a short walk in a park or 10 minutes sitting under a tree can reset your nervous system and restore a sense of calm. I make it a point to spend at least 20 minutes outdoors every day, regardless of weather. This practice grounds me in something larger than my immediate concerns and provides perspective that's difficult to maintain when confined indoors, especially in urban environments. Fifth, simplify wherever possible. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Much of our contemporary chaos comes from the complexity we've allowed into our lives. Too many commitments, possessions, and options. I've been on a gradual journey of simplification, asking of each obligation and possession, does this contribute to or detract from my peace of mind? This isn't about extreme minimalism, but about thoughtful curation of our lives. When I reduced my wardrobe to items I genuinely enjoy wearing, I eliminated the daily decision fatigue that came with too many choices. When I learned to say no to social obligations that drained rather than energized me, I found more enjoyment in the gatherings I did attend. Finding calm in relationship with others. Our interactions with others can be significant sources of either chaos or calm. The Stoics had much to say about maintaining equanimity in our relationships. Epictetus offered this advice: "When someone seems to have injured you, but how can I be sure? And in any case, remember that what hurts you is not the person's action, but your judgment of it, and this is something you can erase right now." This perspective has transformed my approach to interpersonal conflicts. When someone's words or actions upset me, I now ask myself, what judgment am I attaching to this that's causing me pain? Often, I find I've attributed intentions that may not exist, or taken personally what isn't personal at all. Marcus Aurelius suggested, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This isn't cynicism, but a recognition of human nature that allows us to be less surprised and disturbed when people behave imperfectly. I found it helpful to remember that everyone is fighting their own battles with chaos, often with fewer tools than I've been fortunate to develop. This perspective fosters compassion rather than judgment when others act out of their own stress or anxiety. Seneca advised, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Acts of kindness not only benefit their recipients, but also create islands of calm within ourselves. When we step outside our own concerns to serve others, we often find our personal troubles diminished in importance. Even small gestures, genuinely listening to someone without planning your response, offering help without being asked, expressing gratitude specifically and sincerely, can transform the quality of our interactions and create moments of mutual calm in relationships. Handling inevitable setbacks. No matter how diligently we practice these principles, life will still present challenges. The Stoics didn't promise a life free from difficulty. They offered tools for maintaining equilibrium when difficulties arise. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This balanced approach acknowledges both our agency and its limits. I've developed a 3-question practice for when things go wrong. Is this within my control to change? If yes, what specific action can I take? If no, can I use this as an opportunity to practice acceptance? This framework short-circuits the tendency to ruminate unproductively on problems. It channels energy either into constructive action or intentional acceptance, both of which lead back to calm. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This distinction between what happens and how we respond is the essence of resilience. When I lost an important client last year, my initial reaction was panic and self-recrimination. But applying this Stoic perspective, allowed me to separate the event from my response to it. Yes, losing the client was unfortunate, but catastrophizing would only compound the problem. Instead, I assessed what I could learn from the experience and redirected my energy towards serving my remaining clients excellently. Seneca noted, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of the suffering we experience comes not from events themselves, but from our anticipation of them or our resistance to accepting them once they've occurred. Cultivating gratitude as an antidote to chaos. The Stoics were early proponents of gratitude practice. Epictetus advised, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude is perhaps the most direct path to calm I've discovered. When we focus on what we appreciate rather than what we lack or what's gone wrong, our perspective shifts dramatically. Marcus Aurelius practiced this regularly, writing, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." I've made it a practice to name 3 specific things I'm grateful for before my feet hit the floor each morning. They can be as simple as the warmth of my blanket, the sound of birds outside, or the prospect of my morning coffee. This simple ritual sets a tone of appreciation that helps insulate me from the day's inevitable frustrations. Gratitude isn't about denying difficulties or forcing positivity. It's about widening our perspective to include the good that exists alongside the challenges. As Seneca put it, "What fortune has made yours is not your own." Everything we enjoy, from relationships to material comforts to our very lives, is temporary. Recognizing this impermanence doesn't lead to despair, but to a deeper appreciation of what we currently have. The journey toward a calmer existence. Finding calm isn't a destination, but a continuing practice. There will be days when chaos seems to win despite our best efforts. The Stoics recognized this reality, but encouraged persistence. Seneca advised, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." On the hardest days, simply continuing your practices and not surrendering to chaos is victory enough. What I found most helpful is viewing the journey toward calm as a spiral rather than a straight line. We revisit the same challenges at different levels of understanding. Each time we apply these principles, even imperfectly, we strengthen our capacity to maintain equilibrium in future storms. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This isn't to dismiss genuine hardships, but to recognize the tremendous power we have in how we frame our experiences. I've come to see that calm isn't the absence of challenge, but a quality we cultivate within ourselves regardless of external circumstances. It's available to us not despite life's difficulties, but alongside them. Closing thoughts as we come to the end of this exploration. I want to thank you for staying with me throughout. The journey toward calm in a chaotic world isn't always easy, but it's infinitely worthwhile. Remember the words of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In each moment, we have the opportunity to choose our response, to step away from chaos and toward calm. The practices we've discussed, distinguishing between what we can and cannot control, staying present, preparing for challenges, setting boundaries with technology, morning reflection, practicing the pause, connecting with nature, simplifying, nurturing healthy relationships, handling setbacks well, and cultivating gratitude, form a comprehensive approach to creating a calmer existence. I encourage you to start small. Choose just one practice that resonated with you and implement it consistently for the next week. Notice what shifts, then perhaps add another. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, No man steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Each time you practice stepping away from chaos and toward calm, you're changing both yourself and how you experience the world. I'd love to hear your experiences with these practices in the comments below. Which ones resonate most with you? What challenges have you encountered in implementing them? What other approaches have you found helpful? If you found value in this exploration, please consider sharing it with someone who might benefit. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer others is tools for finding their own calm amidst life's inevitable storms. Until next time, remember that calm is not something to find outside yourself, but something to cultivate within. In the words of Seneca, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Live immediately, friends, and find your calm.